everybody, Hebrew77 here, and I just wanted to make this video. I've been wanting to make this video for quite a while now, and for the most part, Ghostbusters has been virtually untouched by the Mandela effect. However, there has been a few things, and one of the things is this guy here. Put him over here. Mr. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Supposedly he's uniformed. This is different supposedly here. And even the name Stay Puft is changed. A lot of people don't remember Stay Puft. I do not agree with that, but I'm not saying it's not been infected. A lot of people remember Stay Puft, which makes more sense. But in the grand scheme of things, like the brand name was Stay Puft, and it means essentially staying puffed up. Stay puffed. Your marshmallows stay puffed when you cook them, and you know, because most marshmallows shrink down when you're cooking them, especially over an open fire or whatever. And supposedly their brand stays puffed. It stays puffed up, not puff. If he was Mr. Stay Puff, he would be smoking cigarettes or pot, you know, something along those lines. Kind of reminds me of like when you think about puff and stuff. Puff, P-U-F-F, and stuff is for marijuana paraphernalia or cigarette type stuff. You know, they don't call themselves puffed in stuff. So that's one thing I wanted to point out, is that the name Stay Puft, this guy is not a puff of smoke, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, that's one of the Mandela effects, and it's really one of the only ones that I can think of, except for maybe the Statue of Liberty, which is in that movie, which is a totally Mandela effect within itself, and we could spend a lot of time on that, but we're not going to. Getting back to the Ghostbusters Mandela effect, and actually this comes from Ghostbusters 2. Things, first of all, there's Ghostbusters 2. I wanted to point out, I have this book. That's a book. And in the book shows bits and pieces from the original script. And of course, any movie that is shot does not follow an original script to the T. There are script changes. There's dialogue changes. There's a lot of stuff that's left on the cutting room floor. And but this book contains all of that stuff that was cut out of the original movie, the finished product, if you would. And so with that all in our minds now, and that all put to the side, I don't know if anyone's ever covered this effect, if this is an old Mandela effect, or if I'm just discovering it. But if I'm just discovering it, then that's pretty awesome. Okay, a little history. I have seen this movie literally like thousands of times. I can quote every single line, every single word, word for word. In fact, I made a Ghostbusters 2 stop motion movie using action figures and whatnot, and I thought it was pretty cool. But unfortunately, I use a lot of copyrighted music in my my movie, and I can't. It would be very hard to delete it and put it on YouTube for everyone to see. Maybe I could do it in short clips and somehow try to cover up the music, but I'm not that good of an editor. So anyway, in the film, there's a line, and I'm gonna bring it up here in 1 second. So it took me a while to actually find this clip, and there isn't too many clips on YouTube that I could find. And I'm gonna turn this light off, less glare. The one clip that I found was obviously recorded off of somebody's TV, and what this scene is about actually is Egon and Ray are in the baby's room and they're examining the toys, and Egon's like, very cheerful, my parents didn't believe in toys. And then Ray's like, you mean you never even had a Slinky? And then Egon, in my memory, Egon goes, I had part of a Slinky, but then I straightened it. And that was supposed to be the comic relief scene. You know, it was a very pivotal scene or whatever. But the way he says it, he says, I had a Slinky, and then I straightened it. Which to me makes more sense than the clip you're about to see. And just watch this. If you guys aren't too familiar with Ghostbusters 2, I understand. But if you are, please leave me a comment and let me know. So here is a television recording of Ghostbusters 2, that scene. And it's at the very end of this clip, so just give me a second. Make sure my volume's turned up, because like I said, this is recorded off of someone's television.
You mean you never even had a Slinky? We had part of a Slinky, but I straightened it.
See right there, and I'm going to rewind it and let you guys hear it again. He says, we. The line is now, we had part of a Slinky, but I straightened it. So I'm going to show you again. Here we go.
You mean you never even had a Slinky? We had part of a Slinky, but I straightened it. You mean you never even had a Slinky? We had part of a Slinky, but I straightened it.
The line there, obviously, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but he's saying we. He says it so fast and subtle, though. So I'm wondering if, like, it might have got lost in translation. And if that's the case, then why is it that so many people, when I watch videos about Ghostbusters 2, they quote that line as though it's always been in there as we. And there's even one guy that made an entire video on the profile of Egon Spengler. And he did it based off of the two Ghostbuster films and the continuity that's in the cartoons, and I guess comic books as well. And he, without skipping a beat, says, in Ghostbusters 2, Egon says, we had a Slinky, indicating that Egon would have had siblings. I looked up, and you guys probably can't see this on your screen, but here's the wiki for Egon Spengler, and I probably should have looked up like Ghostbusters Wiki. Egon Spengler, fictional character, Ghostbusters franchise, appears in the Ghostbuster film. Let's see about if they have anything on his personal life. Character appearances. The real good. Now, when it gets to the television show, the real Ghostbusters, it really gets into some stuff here. His love interest, as it is in the first film, Janine Melnitz. Um, the reason why Egon... Now, here's the thing. The reason why Egon became a Ghostbuster, according to the real Ghostbusters bio, is that Spengler was stalked by the Boogeyman, a supernatural monster that fed on the fear of children and hid in the closets, and was particularly fond of Egon Spengler's fear. And that's why Egon became interested in studying the paranormal. And you know, this is very, very odd. It seems like an only child. Like, I can only imagine this happening to him if he was an only child, didn't have any other siblings. No other siblings are ever mentioned in either the comic books, the real Ghostbusters, or any of the two movies. It does mention that he has an uncle, because his uncle did make an appearance in the real Ghostbusters, but there's no mention of any siblings that he may have had. And it seems like this odd behavior of him collecting spores, modes, and fungus, and just all the really, really kind of out of place stuff that he had, usually describes that as an only child, because only childs seem to have bigger imaginations than children who are raised with siblings, as opposed to the ones that are raised with siblings. Now, I went and I looked on the Ghostbusters fan page, and it mentions Spengler. It mentions his descendants, his ancestry, his parents, his uncle, of course, which showed up on the show. Different quotes and stuff, but nothing ever came up about him having any siblings. So when he says this line in Ghostbusters 2, he says "we." Now, you could be thinking maybe he means the Queen, like the Queen's English "we," like the royal "we." Like what? Like when you're talking about just one singular person, stuff like that. But I don't really see that characteristics in Egon, that he would use the royal "we" in any of his sentencing, or any of his paragraphs or phrases that he might have. Let's see. Right here, there's the line says, "My parents didn't believe in toys." Let's see. Okay. There's nothing really... I'm surprised they didn't have this for the line about him saying, "We had part of a slinky, then I straightened it." Now, does he let's look at that clip one more time, if I can get back there and find it. The line that was mentioned right before this, I'm gonna go ahead and play it. It's stuck. Hold on.
Very cheerful. My parents didn't believe in toys.
Okay. One line. I mean, this one throwaway line, and all of a sudden, Egon either has siblings, or he talks in a way we've never heard him talk before, and uses the term the royal "we," which I don't think that's what's going on here. And when you think about it, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, if he does have siblings, he sure. I mean, it just. Okay, listen to this one more time.
You mean you never even had a slinky? We had part of a slinky, but I straightened it.
So there you have it. It's up for you to decide. I think this is clearly a Mandela effect. A lot of people that aren't affected by this have always thought this was in the movies. In fact, they've come to the conclusion that he has siblings based on this one throwaway line. It totally changes the character's, character. So anyway, I think this has gone on long enough. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hate it, give it a thumbs down. And if you feel good enough to watch any of my other videos, please subscribe and do so. Until next time, this has been Hebro77 saying, I'll see you in the next one. Good night, everybody.